feeling lots of emotions right now.
All right. Hello! Our new fan owners, Mr. Knightley. They're super excited. We're excited for them.
Very excited.
And we're going to show them all around Mr. Knightley.
Let's do it.
And there's Bill. Okay, let's get the show on the road.
So we put in this window. It has an awning on the side that you guys already know about with the screen. The roof rack has the Starlink on that side, and then solar panels on the front.
All right.
It's 400 watts of solar. So both doors open 270 degrees.
Wait, did you show them how to do that? The little
mat
fancy thing you just did?
So all I did was push the unlock, and then it will stick again right there until I do unlock again. But since we're always in the wind, I never ever keep these
That way, yeah.
that way. Okay, so on this side, this is the backup camera
Oh, okay.
that sometimes has a hard time staying on because when you put this down, it kind of knocks
Knocks
into
it.
it.
Okay. So that's
This-
the thing that's plugged into the little
Yeah.
screen with polarized,
Yep.
polarized screen. Okay.
So this is the shore power cord. It's a 30 amp cord, so it's not going to fit in your regular household sockets because you don't have a plug that looks like that.
Right.
Maybe on your dryer, you would have one of those. But there is this adapter, so it takes this and changes it so that you can plug it into a house. Now, the problem with that is that this is a 30 amp cord, so it's going to pull 30 amps at 120 volts into here. So if you put on the microwave and a heater, it's going to want to pull 30 amps. But this thing
This adapter doesn't.
really only wants 15 amps.
Gotcha.
So and it'll blow your breaker probably
Right.
in there. You probably have a 15 or a 20 amp breaker in your house. So what I do is I'll put this on here. I'll plug into an extension cord, like a heavy duty extension cord, plug it into the house, and then I'll just run one thing.
Right.
So I'll just know in my head, I'm only running the heater.
Yeah.
And it's a hot
only
thing.
running-
It's a heat thing.
Yeah, it's a heat up
So a
thing.
blow dryer or the stove top
Right.
or the
Curling
water.
irons do not take a lot of power, surprisingly.
I
Like a couple
know.
hundred watts.
But blow dryers do.
But yes,
Blow dryers take like 1,800 watts. Yeah, it's all about the watts.
they're very inefficient, I think. I don't know.
Right. The microwave probably, I think we measured it at 1,500 watts, even though it says it's like a 700 watt thing. I don't know why it takes so much more power.
Initially, when you start it, it takes
Yeah.
a lot of power at once.
The induction cooktop will tell you how many watts it's using.
Interesting. That's cool.
And so you can just be like, oh, I'm only going to use 600 watts. Or you can see it right on it. In the back, we have USB. On this side, we have two sets of USB-A's. And on this side, it's just one set of USB-A's, and this is a 12 volt outlet, like a cigarette lighter.
Oh, okay.
And that's to power another pump that I'll show you in a second.
Got it.
This is a fan for the electrical compartment. Sometimes it gets warm in there, and it's just this button right here turns it on.
Is that temperature sensitive?
It's
It's either on or off.
right. So if I think it's a really hot day and it might be too warm in there, I'll turn that on. And then this button is for Starlink. So if this is on, Starlink's on, and you can use it while you're driving if you have service, obviously. And I'll have to email you the service thing.
Got it.
Just transfer the service over, and then just undo the switch to turn it off.
So, do we have an example of
So-
when we didn't push the fan on and it got overheated?
Yeah, so there's two components in there that heat up, really. The first is the DC to, it's called an Orion DC to DC charger. So it's when you're driving, it's taking the alternator current, extra current, and charging the batteries with that, and that thing gets a little warm. Now, it's not going to hurt it to get hot because it'll just step down. It's supposed to charge at 50 amps, which is a lot. And once it starts getting hot, it'll drop it to 40, 30, 20.
And how did you notice that?
I watched it on the app. So there's a Victron app, and I probably still have it hooked up.
And that's something that he would look at regularly.
So we need to.
So it's Victron Energy, and it's this little blue thing. Victron Connect is the name of the app.
Which one?
That little
Victron
cool
Connect.
blue one. It's my favorite color, blue.
As you can tell.
As he's wearing it.
And then you can see this is the XS that I was talking about.
Okay.
And you can go in there and rename these and kind of
Right. So, yeah. So is it like a little Bluetooth connection or something?
Yep,
So,
it's Bluetooth to those two devices.
So if we download the app,
The other thing that's underneath that heats up is the solar controller. It doesn't get nearly as hot as the other one.
okay.
And that's just translating the amps and the volts from the solar panels into amps and volts that the batteries can use.
Okay.
All happens automatically.
Got
You
it.
don't have to think about it. So that's this guy right here. So the solar panels I've seen them put in actually more than 400 watts. There's two 200-watt panels, so theoretically it shouldn't be more. But I have seen it on super sunny days, like down in Texas, when the sun is straight overhead.
He's like, Christina, we're getting in more than we ever
More than we
thought.
paid for. Like it was like $450.
bonus power.
Usually that won't happen. But if we found that if we sit for a while, as long as we have sun, the batteries will stay completely charged from the sun.
No matter what we're using.
If it's cloudy out, like if we had couple days of this, it would draw down the batteries, the fridge would.
Wouldn't keep up.
But if we drove for an hour or two a day, it would fill them back up again as well. And then if all else fails, you can plug into shore power with this.
Sure.
And
Charge off
it will
that.
charge the batteries from that.
Okay.
So if you want to leave it in your driveway, you can just let it sit. The panels will keep everything in here topped off.
Wow.
You don't need to plug it into the house or anything like
Okay.
that. You probably won't even need to we're going away this weekend. Let's make sure the battery's topped out. They'll be 100%.
Okay.
But you're always watching.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Double check. Yeah.
Because when it's sitting here like this, there's really nothing using energy.
Right.
Other than if you had food in the refrigerator. But
If you turn the fridge on the night before though, and you drive for half an hour, it's going to fill them back up.
Gotcha.
So you probably won't ever need this unless you need to plug in the heater like we did at Boyd Lake.
Okay.
So that takes
Or you want to top off your batteries because they got drained for some reason.
Yeah. But
Right. Like
Yeah.
you're in Seattle or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
even in Washington we had no
Yeah.
problem. So,
That's pretty
but we
good.
drove a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there is that.
If you're stationary for a few days and the weather's not sunny, then maybe.
Then you have to look at it. Yeah. Okay, so that's all for that.
Do you want to show them the batteries under there and emphasize
Well,
anything
we'll
that we're
lift
just
up the
talking
thing.
about? Okay.
So the batteries are on the bottom, and there's 4 of them. And like I said, they're all connected together through Ethernet, talking to each other to keep the load balanced.
Got it.
So you don't want one to get charged and discharged and charged and you want them all to be even.
Right.
So the electricity goes in one side and comes out the other
Okay.
through all 4. So it works as one big battery. So it's 12-volt system. So a lot of the stuff in here is for 12-volt.
Okay.
So I don't know what's the best way to talk about it. So the power from the batteries comes up these 2 cables, red for positive, black for negative. It's fused. So this is a fuse. So if you have no power at all, you can check this fuse right here.
Got it.
I'll try to do this without electrocuting myself
Please.
because it is all live.
Yeah.
So that is so if I dropped a wrench across some of this stuff,
You'd spark.
it would melt the wrench instantly.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, you have to be careful working in here. And they even tell you that with the batteries, like don't leave tools like on the edge where you can knock it in and things like that. So just be careful. I do have this cover on here to protect the positive side. That's the bad one. Like I can touch the negative
Sure.
and it's negative to the vehicle as well
Okay.
and grounded from the shore power. So negative's not a problem, positive is a problem.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
why the cover. That's so great.
So positive comes in here, it's fused, and then gets spread across all these. So this is our solar controller.
Okay.
So power comes down from the solar panels, comes through this thing, and it translates it to the language, to the volts and the amps that the battery wants. It's set for these batteries.
Okay.
So if you ever changed out the batteries, you'd need different settings.
And bonus, it says solar right on it.
Yep. This one is the guy that gets hot. Although
Okay.
this one doesn't get as hot as it's the previous one.
And we rearranged this too just because
million
it got
times.
hot. Yep.
So this guy's taking extra energy from the engine as you're driving
Okay.
and charging the batteries. So these 2 guys are your chargers
Okay.
for normal day-to-day stuff. Both of them have breakers coming in and going out. The going out ones are way under there. But remember how you said if we turn the batteries off, how do we turn them back on? If both of these are in, it'll turn the batteries back on. So if it senses that you're charging from the solar panels, it'll keep turning the batteries on.
Okay.
So if you want to work on the system and turn the batteries off, you have to turn off these
Flip
guys.
off the breakers so there's
And
no
so you just
current
push
going
these
in.
and that turns them off.
Okay.
So
You
now
push
there's
what in?
These little red
Oh, I
buttons.
see, okay.
Buttons, and then put the breaker back up again, the little yellow thing, and now it's charging again.
Got it.
So both of those panels, alternator, go into this block, and this block go to the batteries. So they're charging.
Got it.
Taking power out is this fuse block right here. So these are all fuses, standard automotive fuses. And they feed like the Maxxair Fan, the lights, the USB, and each of them has the appropriate wire size and the appropriate fuse.
Okay.
And then this comes back here.
A lot of van builds don't
Yeah.
have all the appropriate
So I've
sizes.
seen some
just
pretty
FYI.
skinny wires coming up from their batteries, and that's bad.
Yeah, that's scary.
Because the problem is with 12 volt, they heat up. Well, all wires heat up, but 12 volt, since you're sending so many amps through,
Right.
the wire size needs to be huge because you won't have wires like this big in your house. Maybe your service feeds from the pole are this big, but this is just 250 amps. That's all this wire can handle, and that's
At 12 volts.
At 12
Correct,
volts,
right.
and that's basically the water heater and a microwave. Is about all that guy can handle. So it's fused at 250 amps for here. These are all fused, so if you add all those up, the wire size feeding into here is equal to all those. So if anything goes bad, one of those fuses will blow.
Got it.
Or this master fuse. So if you're pulling way too much for the batteries, that master fuse will blow.
Okay.
And that's to protect everything. Because wires heating up is the #1 source of fires in RVs.
Got it.
Okay, this is just Starlink stuck on top. Like I said, it's feeding off of 12 volt as well from in here. You probably could just pull, if you, how do you know which one goes to which? That is a good question.
Do you have a circuit
I
diagram?
do not, it's just in my head. Okay, so the lower ones, like the 5s, those are gonna be small things like USBs, that kind of thing. The 15s are like the fridge. I probably have a 15 for the power supply for the Starlink. Some of them are overdone. So like the water pump doesn't really pull all that much amps, but they rated at 10 amps.
Okay.
And so I probably stuck in a 15. So it might be a little hunt and peck if something's not working to figure out which fuse is blown.
Okay.
But we haven't had, knock on wood, a single fuse blow in the whole time we've had it.
That's fantastic. Okay.
Okay, so that's the DC part. That's the 12 volt side. The 120 side comes from this guy.
That's the inverter.
Right, so he's pulling in 3,000's a bit too much for this. So 3,000 watts is 250 amps.
Calculate.
Yeah, 12 volts.
So if I take 3,000 watts divided by 12 is 250 amps. So this thing, and it will go more than 3,000. So it'll burst up to like probably 3,000 or 4,000, 4,500. It will pull all that through here, but if you did too many, it's going to pop this this fuse.
Got it.
There's 2 outlets on the back of this, so it's taking power in from batteries on this side,
Right.
and it's putting out AC 120 volt power on this side. So each of those has a circuit breaker just like your house. So if you pull more than 15, so if we put on the induction cooktop and the microwave at the same time, that's all on one side. That's going to pop this. And you're going to need to reset the inverter with that switch up front.
Okay.
Just turning it off
Right.
and on again.
Yeah, so we just only use one thing on this side and one thing on this side at a time.
Oh, sorry.
And then the other circuit from this is on the passenger side, and it feeds the outlet up the front, the receptacle, and there's a receptacle under the bench for the water heater.
Yep.
So the water heater, like I said, uses 700 watts, and each side is like 1,500. So you have like another 700-800 to play with on this side,
Right.
which means I wouldn't plug the induction cooktop on this side just because you don't know when the water heater is kicking off
Right. Yeah, that's
unless
why.
I unplug the water heater. Right. But if you're plugging in a laptop or something, that's fine. That's only like 100 watts, 150 watts. Okay. So the only thing really funny about this is in order to smash it into such a small space, I had to replace the inverter charger with just an inverter. So this thing used to both charge the batteries and translate the power and automatically switch over when you're plugged into shore power. It wouldn't fit in this space, so I just put an inverter in. So the way I get charging is way down there. There's another component that's blue, and it charges the battery. You probably can't even see it.
I can't see it.
But there's a blue thing on the floor at the bottom that's plugged in right here.
Okay.
So when we're plugged into shore power, this outlet here, this receptacle, is the only one that's connected to shore power. So if I plug into shore power, this thing is plugged in, so it would charge the batteries.
Right.
But nothing else in here would work off of shore power, which usually isn't a problem for us. But if you want to plug in a heater, that's when we had to do this little switcheroo.
Right.
So I found the one that said driver side, and I unplugged it from the inverter, and I plug it into shore power, and that's it.
To do what?
So that
Repeat.
now means that the shore power, the power is coming in from the pedestal or your outlet at your house, through the shore power cord into here, out to the driver's side, and it's feeding the receptacle on that bench and the microwave. So if we plug in the heater, it's coming off shore power.
And it's still going through the inverter to...
No, it bypasses the inverter altogether.
Okay.
But if you want the water heater on, that's on that side,
Then you switch to the other side.
you could switch or just turn on the inverter. Because the battery charger is going to more than make up for that.
Gotcha.
So this
Remind
is-
me what this is.
So this is
powering?
the charger that's buried under there.
Okay.
To charge the batteries
That's going to charge batteries when you're
from
Got
shore
it.
power.
Right.
plugged into shore power, right? So this is the only one I would ever switch over, is the driver's side one. So here it's connected to shore power, and if I plug it in back into this guy,
It's running off batteries.
it's running off the batteries through the inverter.
So give that scenario again, just in simple
So-
form.
If I
When-
want to run the heater, because the heater takes so much energy, it'll drain the batteries in 2 hours.
So therefore you
Therefore, I only run the electric heater when we are connected to shore power.
and you do
Connected to shore power, we plug in, we move this driver's side yellow plug into the shore power receptacle, and that now powers this side of the van, the driver's side, from shore power.
As soon as you're plugged in via the receptacle, this outlet is live. There's no other things to do.
One other step.
Okay. That's what I thought.
So it's this box right here.
Got it.
So when we're plugged into shore power, and I should turn these off. These should be off. You plug
While
into
you're plugging
shore power. If this red light lights up, that means there's a problem with the outlet, like the wires are switched or something like that, and I wouldn't use it.
Okay.
So normally that red light is off,
Okay.
and then I throw both. You have to throw these. You can't just do one. You have to do both at the same time.
Okay. So it's one logical switch.
Right.
Okay.
It's actually breakering the hot side and the neutral side
Makes sense.
at the same time. You do that, that green light will come on, and it means you're now connected to shore power.
Got it. And now
And
that's
this
live.
is live.
Okay.
Yep.
So generally, unless you're plugged in via shore power, those should be off.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
There's no harm to leaving them on. I like to
good habit.
know what's going on out here with the pedestal before I throw the breakers and
Yes.
do all that stuff.
so you could use a permanent marker and mark, anything on your switches to kind of give
Yep.
you instructions or say what's what.
Theoretically, if you're not camping in cold weather and you don't need the heater, you never need to touch anything under here.
Right.
Turn the inverter on when you want to use the microwave induction cooktop or the water heater. Turn it off when you're not using anything.
And all the 12-volt stuff's just always
And all the
live.
12 volt stuff's on. Fuses don't blow.
Easy peasy.
Breakers don't blow.
Great.
The batteries automatically getting charged when you're driving. Automatically getting charged from solar when the sun comes up in the morning. Don't have to touch anything.
Great. Easy.
So there's no switches to throw or anything like that. They'll just automatically charge.
Cool.
And the batteries are smart. So lithium batteries don't like to charge when it's below 32 degrees. It won't let them charge. And it will tell you an error code on the screen up front where you're looking at the state of the charge. Like I think number 4 means it's too cold. Number 9 so it won't charge them if it's below 32. And then you can't use them if it's below like 0 or negative 10. Because lithiums don't like that.
Got it.
The batteries handle all that. So
They keep themselves safe.
you can leave it sitting in your driveway at 10 below and it will know all the right things to do with the solar.
Okay.
But it just will not let them charge.
Cool.
So you might come out and you're like, oh, why don't the lights turn on? And it's probably because the batteries are
cold.
freezing. So sometimes I'll set the heater right here and kind of let them warm up over time. Or just drive.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Eventually the van will warm up. It is sitting on a little bit of a insulation pad, but this floor does get cold.
Sure.
And so the batteries, even if it's like 70 degrees up here, the batteries will stay cold. So
Which
it
another
does take-
reason why the fan, you might turn the fan on because that will circulate
the hot air.
the hot air.
This fan up here.
Not only just
This one.
Oh, that fan.
That one.
That's what it does.
Or, those two, but the one down there, it's not just to cool them down, it's also to
Yeah.
keep them warm. To
Yeah.
keep the warm
So
air.
if it's ski season and you're like, oh, let's take the van up, you'd probably want to start warming it up a day or two early
Okay.
just to get the batteries up to temperature,
Gotcha.
because they do take a little bit of time to get to the core of them.
They're a solid mass,
Yeah.
like a block.
But other than that, you shouldn't have to even worry about it.
Awesome.
And the Starlink, like I said, just this button back here, the back one turns it on and off.
Cool.
And if you have service, you can use it while you're driving.
Got it.
So
Okay,
you need to think about it.
So from a software perspective, the Starlink we need to
Starlink-
transfer over, or
It needs an app.
and
Yep.
the app, and
Well,
then the Victron.
I guess you don't technically need the Starlink app, but I like
Yeah,
it. You can see what your service level is and all that
sure.
kind of stuff.
And then we connect.
And
You're
then
going to
the-
give
And
us.
Victron app.
Victron. Those are the only two, right?
Yep.
And so for the Starlink, you'll send us, and then we can transfer it over to us, kind of, or something.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
It'll just send you, Starlink will send you an email.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the electrical system. Basically, if anything goes wrong, it's probably a fuse. If something isn't charging, it's probably a breaker that might have tripped. But like I said, I have not had that happen. And then you can watch it. With the app for the Victron, you don't really need it. They'll just do their thing.
Right.
And they're set for lithium batteries already. It's just if you like monitoring it and seeing what your state of charge is.
If you want to geek out,
Yeah. Yeah.
be me.
Exactly.
Okay,
Well,
that's
That would be
awesome.
me.
I'm guessing he's going to want the app.
And then Starlink has an app too. So.
Perfect. Okay.
So light switch for the inside lights with a dimmer. Works all 10 lights. This is one of the two 110 power. So in order to use this, you either need to be plugged into shore power or the inverter needs to be turned on. I'll do that in a second.
Okay.
So the USBs don't run off the
USBs
inverter.
Yeah, they
But
run
if you run in
off
the
of-
AC, you need the inverter.
Yeah. that one
I
actually might
think you're going to be awesome at this.
be- So on this side, we have a 120 outlet as well. And this is the one that we plug the induction cooktop into all the
Okay.
time because it just made sense to sit it up here and plug it in here.
Right.
You're going to want to see on this side,
Yeah.
Carl. So maybe you want to be in this
And
side
then-
right here.
I can see.
And then two USBs for here.
Yep.
In case you want to charge something on here. And then this first one is the status of the batteries. So it'll cycle through the battery voltage, which is at 14.3. And then you can hit the up down arrows. 99.7% full. The capacity of the batteries is 398.
Can you
Used to
see
be
okay?
400.
Yeah.
We're not using any amps. And those are the four things it cycles through.
Okay.
Now, if you want to turn the batteries off, and instead of using this little blue thing, you can press and hold that middle button. You got to like put a pokey thing in there,
Got it.
and it will turn the batteries off. So if you need to do maintenance or anything like that,
Right.
you can press and hold that. Or if you want to, like if you really just want to let it sit over the winter and you don't want to
Have the
have the
battery.
batteries constantly charging and using something, you can turn them off. This side is the inverter. So
Once they're off, how do you turn them back on?
just again, pokey thing.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Do you need a special pokey thing?
No.
Bobby pin?
Like a pen.
Any random pokey thing will do.
Okay.
Random
He
pokey
knows. Did you know that, guys?
So this side is the inverter. The inverter takes the 12 volt from the batteries and changes it into 120 volt that we normally use. So everything in here is either 120 or 12 volt. 12 volts much more efficient because this is like 90% efficiency of changing one to the other. So we try not to run anything off the inverter if we can help it.
Right.
So the fans, the USBs, the Maxxair Fan, the fridge, those are all 12 volt.
Gotcha.
If we need to run the microwave, the water heater, or the induction cooktop, we need to turn on the inverter.
Okay.
And that's just this button here. Just push it in,
And you only want that
You'll
on
hear
when
beep.
you're using it.
and then we'll hear the microwave do beep.
Right. Okay.
So now the
And
microwave's
that's why
on.
we had the heater plugged in on this
Right.
side. Okay.
So if you want to use anything like that, induction cooktop, the water heater is 700 watts. So it will draw down your batteries a bit. And it takes about an hour to heat the 4 gallons that's in there. So if you want to take a shower or do dishes, remember, I got to turn the water heater on maybe an hour before.
Got it.
But it stays hot for a long time.
And
That's
we
just the
kept
initial
it
time.
always on, didn't we?
I just left it plugged in and kept it on and didn't
And
worry
we
about
had
it.
enough.
What did you leave plugged in?
The water heater.
Oh, okay.
So it's just we constantly had hot water.
So
we
we didn't
didn't
have to
worry
think
about
about
it.
it.
Okay.
And we
It's
could
pretty
still use the
efficient.
microwave.
It's
even
very
though the
well
water heater-
insulated.
Costs energy to warm it up at first, but
Initially.
then keeping it warm
The
is not so
solar
bad.
panels do it fine.
Yeah.
And we drove enough.
Right.
An hour a day, 2 hours a day was enough for us. So then you just push it again and it turns everything off.
Got it.
And that will turn both sides on.
Okay.
So
All outlets from
Right.
just the single inverter.
yeah,
Okay.
so it turns on this outlet, the outlet up there, the outlet
This
over there,
outlet.
and then there's another outlet
back one.
under there for the water heater. It's
Okay.
going to turn them all on.
Okay.
So if you want to plug a laptop in, you got to put this on.
Got it.
It's not a big deal. The solar's enough to keep laptops charged and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Not a big deal. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so water hose. So this is one that we were using. So what I do to fill the water is use this little filter. This is just kind of a debris filter,
Little
really.
carbon
It's not
filter.
really going to take out bacteria, viruses, that kind of stuff. So I connect up this. It comes with a little short piece. I connect my hose to this. That short piece goes on your faucet.
Okay.
So the water is coming through the faucet, through the filter, and it has like an arrow on it. You can't connect it the wrong way.
Got it.
Then this connects up to the bottom of that, and then the hose connects into here.
Okay.
And then there's a gauge on the front of the thing that will go over when we go on the inside.
Okay.
And you can just watch it when it gets to 100%. If you overfill it, there is a, so the water tank is under here. So on this side, it has the fill, and then it has the output to the pump. Then in this corner, there's like a overflow thing.
Okay.
So there's like a little breather thing, because if it didn't have it, even if you don't overfill, if you're stuffing water into it, the air that's in
Pressure.
there needs someplace to go.
Right.
So it goes out the overflow and comes out underneath the van.
Okay.
Comes out
So
right
it'll
before
look
the
like
tap.
he's peeing on the
Right.
ground, your
Right.
extra
So if
water.
you see water coming out on this side, and you're filling the water, you're like, oh, thanks,
Cool.
Paul.
Got it.
Sometimes if she's not around to watch the gauge or she's busy, sometimes I'll just lift this up and watch the water in there fill up, because you can kind of see it,
Okay.
unless it's super bright or something.
Right. And then a gallon. That
Oh, and that's
the
20
capacity is
gallons.
20 gallons.
Yep.
And that's like what comes out of the sink.
Yep.
Yep.
That's the shower.
All the
and
water
you
is
can
in one
drink
place.
it,
That's the
and
only
it's
place it comes
drinkable water.
Yeah.
Theoretically, she won't drink it.
I just want it to taste, I don't know.
Better.
Yeah. And make sure, because there's a lot of places that will
Right.
fill up. You see people who are not really following the best
Right. And
methods.
this is only going to take out like debris.
Right.
There's another filter that will go over inside
Okay.
that is more of a whole house carbon filter that should kill anything,
Got it.
but the water is just sitting in this tank.
Right.
So
So
she
you
doesn't like to
cook
drink
with
I
it,
drink
but you don't like to drink it.
I don't like to drink it, but I do.
But
And
you'll brush your teeth with it.
yeah, and we have a Brita water bottle and a Lark water bottle, so
that
you
have
know.
filters built in.
Yeah, so we just be extra safe, and most people will drink that water and be fine with it.
Right.
Yep.
But since we're doing this all the time,
Right.
our chances would be a little higher.
Right.
I don't
Versus if like I fill it up out of my home, we
Right.
go camping, we know it came from our house. like,
Right,
It's probably
right.
fine.
But it's
Right.
still sitting in here.
in that
Right.
tank.
So-
And we
I don't know. But we'll-
clean it all the time, and we're going to show you how
Okay,
to
okay.
do that
Right,
too.
Okay, so
But then you have chlorine in your water too, so that you want to filter that out. So
Gotcha.
filling the tank, there's two ways to fill it. You can use the
we actually added this. Maybe
this was my own concoction.
yeah,
Right.
because we couldn't
Feeling special.
always find
So the problem
water,
is right. So
fresh
so
water hose.
If you can't hook up the hose to fill the tank, like we would go to a campground and they're like, "Oh, our water's on a boil notice." And we're like, "Oh, great. What are we going to do for water?" Well, the theory is that we could have gone to like a Walmart and bought the big water jugs.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you get it into the
the
tank? Because this is a hose connection, and it takes pressure to get through that connection. So I came up with this idea of using a pump. So this connects into here, like this. This you would stick into your bucket or your 5-gallon jug or whatever. And then this guy plugs in
Oh,
to
nice.
that cigarette lighter. And it will pump the water into the thing. So that's good for filling it. It's also good for sanitizing the tank. So the formula is a 1/4 cup of bleach to every gallon of water.
Right.
So if you want to put 10 gallons in, is it a 1/4 cup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quarter cup per
That seems
gallon.
like
Well, it doesn't really matter too much because you're going to run it all out.
Right,
You're
so
going to
what
pump it in, drive around, slosh it around a little bit, make sure it's getting in all
Right.
the corners,
So I
and
would
then
do, like,
and then empty it.
5 or 10 gallons
it.
of water in here with the bleach solution, put it in a bucket and suck it up with this thing into the tank,
Okay.
and then run the faucet till you can smell bleach coming out.
Right.
And then you know it's through the system, both hot and cold. And then, yeah, like she said, drive around, let it maybe sit overnight or something, slosh it, and then you want to get all that bleach solution out. So that means turning on the water pump, adding, let it drain everything out, then add more water in, drain it again until you can't smell bleach.
And how do you drain it?
So I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so that's all we do back here.
Yeah, so then just to add one more thing about the water. So a lot of places you'll find visitor centers will have water fills, which are really great. So we would carry around empty 1-gallon buckets, or not buckets, like
Or a 5-gallon jug
jugs,
or something.
and then use those to fill up at water stations. At the
Right.
rest area, they might have a water station,
Or at the
water bottle fill.
Teton Jenny Lake Visitor Center was the one I
So if you
I
can't
did
find fresh water in a pump, which is sometimes hard to find,
Sure.
then that's
or bottle
the way
fill
we would do it.
stations for like water bottles.
Yeah.
We would fill up. Our friends Steve and Audra do that all the time. They have like 6 1-gallon jugs and they just fill wherever they can find those bottle fill
They just
stations.
keep them handy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they just,
And you can actually get collapsible ones too, which
I've
work
seen
really
that's what
well.
I was using.
Yeah.
The collapsible.
So I would fill the collapsible one if I ever needed it. It was like very rare that I needed to do that.
Right.
But it was very handy to have when we did.
How often would you sanitize?
Probably 3 times,
depends on how
4
much
times a
you're
year. Yeah, but probably,
How much are you using and how much it's sitting? Because
yeah, the sitting part.
The more
It's
it
not
sits,
great.
the more you need to-
Yeah, so if you know it's
Right.
going to sit for a little while, maybe you put that concoction in there and let it sit like that. You
Right.
drive it around and let it slosh around, and then when you want to actually use it, you drain it, rinse it.
right.
And then
Okay.
fill it.
Yeah,
That makes
so
sense.
that way nothing's going to grow
Yes.
while you're.
Yeah.
Yep.
While you're sitting.
Because that's probably.
Because for us, we're going to be
that's-
sitting more than you guys were ever sitting.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
You're going to be
Right?
sitting quite a bit.
Or
this
maybe
year.
you just do it like the day before you go on a trip.
That's kind of what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is there?
I don't really like the idea of it sitting in there, but
I'm not sure I
Yeah,
do
it's pretty
either.
toxic. Okay, so this is the water tank. This is the sensor that tells you how full it is, or you can just look at the side of it. It's pretty obvious. This is where the water comes in. Just goes right into the top of the tank. No filter or anything, except for the one that's on the hose.
This is where you can really see your adult erector set
Yes.
situation that you guys have done so well. That's just awesome.
It's worked out really well.
It fought against the Colorado roads today, for sure.
Yeah, but let me say one thing about that too, which we had not mentioned before, is that if you, for whatever reason, too many miles or whatever, you get in an accident or whatever you can take all of these parts out
We'll get to that.
and buy a brand new Ford Transit and put it all in that
We'll
really
get to that in
easy.
a second.
Okay, cool.
Sometimes these do come a little bit loose. And so sometimes I'll take them out, throw some thread lock on them, the blue stuff,
Yep.
and then tighten it back up again. But I think these
Blue
are
lock
all-
tight.
Yeah, just the regular one. And then this is just a standard water pump. You
Okay.
get on Amazon. So it's from Amazon. I will send you a link to the 80/20 stuff.
We had Amazon coming every day.
Could you get it delivered to the van?
Well, pretty much because
Actually,
we're
Nice.
okay, so water tank, water sensor, fill. Like I said, this is the overflow. So if it overflows or it needs
so
air,
that tube right there you're
it goes
pointing
right
at
down through the floor. This
Got it.
goes all the way to
here.
underneath the sink.
Yep.
It's actually on the step, correct?
No, it's right under the
So
in front
it's
of the front back
under
tire.
the step,
Yeah.
outside,
Okay,
completely
so
outside.
water comes up through here. There's a little strainer. Again, that's not going to stop bacteria or viruses, just to protect the pump from anything,
Got it.
big particles or something like that. Comes through the pump. There's an arrow on here saying the water goes this way. Goes into this whole house filter. And actually, I tightened that down. It has a filter wrench.
Oh, nice.
Do you
Okay.
guys have a whole house filter in? Okay, we had one in our last house.
Nice.
So this just goes on here, and then you can crank this
Yep.
open and close. The one thing you want to do is when you're doing the bleach thing, do not have the filter in here.
Remove the filter
Right,
before
because
you.
the filter's going to try and stop all that chlorine bleach from getting to
You're
there.
gonna ruin the thing.
Absolute opposite thing you want to happen.
Right, so
Yeah.
take the filter out. That's why I left it out, because I thought we were going to bleach it, but
Okay, so that's what is
That's a-
inside the
So there's
blue
no
thing.
filter in right now.
there's no filter in here. It's right there. I can send you the link, the one I use. It's just a solid charcoal filter, which I think is supposed to kill bacteria, viruses, or deactivate the viruses, take out chlorine and that kind of stuff. But again, we weren't using it for drinking, just other stuff.
Sometimes drinking, brushing our teeth for sure, cooking with.
Okay, so water continues, comes out of here. So everything, the hot and cold, is getting filtered. And I've changed the filter maybe every 6 months.
Okay.
It probably lasts 10,000 gallons or something, which is way more.
But once again, we like to be safe
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and clean.
And it's easy enough to change out.
Right.
Okay, it has a little red button on the top that you can release the pressure. I always get soaked when I do this because I forget.
Hence the towel.
So if you want to change the filter, the whole system from here on out is pressurized. So either open the faucet or press the button, which actually water will come out if you press the button and it's pressurized. So open the faucet to drain it out. Drain the
So
pressure.
open, like
Yeah.
turning it on.
Okay.
Yep. And also in the winter you want to do that. So in the winter you want to get all of the water out of the system, especially the hot water heater, because if it freezes it'll crack it.
Right.
It'll
Yeah.
crack this, it'll crack all the
Yes.
lines.
Yes, that would be
Be a
so
bad
bad.
day. So I try to drain this out, and to do that I just run the pump until it's empty. So there's probably a tiny little bit of water in there
So
now.
basically winterizing.
Yeah, so this
That's
is
what would be
winterizing.
So
winterizing.
we run which pump? This.
So I want to get all the water out of here. So I'm running this pump with the forwardmost
It's the same
button.
shower
Button.
pump.
Same shower pump, and I just turn on the faucet,
That shower
let it
pump.
go until it's done.
Okay.
Then I try to get out, like this is a little strainer, and you can just open that with your hand. I will take that out. I'll take the water filter out, and then we get to the water tank. So the water tank has a little valve here, and so actually it's set.
Come down. No, you're good. You're good.
So if I turn that
It's okay.
allows the water to come out of the tank through here and out to outside as
That's
well.
the drain.
So that's the drain. Right.
So as long as you have that gap, that visible gap, that means that
Right.
it's open.
And that's closed.
Okay.
Okay, so the water heater, so the water comes in, splits back here, and it splits here, and goes, one side goes to the cold on the faucet, the other side goes to the,
Cold to the intake of the.
yep, and then
water.
red comes out, red PEX. and goes to the faucet as well.
Okay.
Okay, so the water heater, there's an outlet behind this. It's kind of hard to get to, so I put in a little short extension cord so you can see that that's not plugged in. So if you plug those together, then
Let's
it's
see that.
essentially plugged into the outlet.
Right here, this way you can see it pretty well.
So if you want to turn on the hot water, you need to make sure that's plugged in and the inverter's on.
Okay.
Oh, I see it right there.
That
Okay.
turns it on.
That turns
Right
on.
Plug
there.
it
And
in.
it just works all by
Turn it
itself.
on the inverter.
It'll heat up when it needs it. Just make sure there's water in it. So make sure, add 10 gallons of water here when you're starting up for the season. Run water out of the hot and cold tap until it stops sputtering. That kind of thing is flowing nicely. Then you know you have water in the water tank.
Okay, and then basically when you're not in use, you unplug this.
I unplug that. If it's going to freeze though, you need to drain everything.
Right.
This is a nice one because it has the drain on it.
Right.
Some of them don't have that, and it was really difficult to
We had to take the whole water heater out and dump it outside.
It was, yeah, so this was a great upgrade.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, so
80/20?
well, the drain from the sink
Oh, yeah.
and from the shower pan comes through this line here, this big tube,
Yeah.
and goes into the
Gray
tank underneath.
Okay.
That white kind of clear snake looking
the webbed
one.
one, yeah.
Yep.
Let's see what else in here. Anything?
We have replaced the water pump maybe once.
Yeah, they go bad every now and then. The nice thing is you got a spare.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's the same
It's the
model?
same one.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's the SureFlow 4008.
So the benefit of having that for the water fill in the back is you have a spare.
Right.
So the kitchen faucet runs off of this first button is the water pump, and it's going to be empty right now. So there's no water in it.
So you have to turn the pump on to
Right.
get the water out.
Okay.
Right. So
And you have to have water to get out.
That's right.
Yes.
so right now there's no water in the tank, so it's not pumping any water through.
And I think you were saying that it has a sensor, so if it's not going to like...
Yeah, it wouldn't.
Kill
I
itself.
don't like to keep it on like
Sure.
that, but if it runs out of water and you don't notice,
It'll-
and like when we leave the van, we always turn it off
Right.
because if something busted or something,
Yeah.
we would flood it.
We don't want
Plus
that.
it saves the pump maybe
Yeah.
Yeah.
the life
So
of the
it
pump.
does both hot and cold out of this faucet. And this
Okay.
is the only place that water goes. So it comes out of the tank, through the pump, through the hot water heater to the faucet.
Right.
There's no other place it's going.
Okay.
So if you don't have hot water, it's probably because it's not plugged in or the inverter's not on.
Right. Okay.
Because you probably almost always have battery power,
Right.
energy in the batteries. So it's probably a matter of one of those two.
Got it.
And then if it's not coming out hot enough, it's probably the thermostatic control under the sink.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to turn it up.
And we've never bumped it by accident, so
No.
I mean it could happen, but
Yeah, it looks like it's in a spot that's not
yeah,
going to get
nothing's really gonna get.
bumped or anything. So
Okay. So that's the water side.
Excellent.
And all the electrical is on this side, all the water is on this side.
Which makes it very simplified
And
yes,
balances the weight distribution.
and
as
balances
well.
the weight distribution.
gotcha.
Important.
Okay. So to do the shower, you need your faucet up here, you need your water pump on, and then obviously you need something to collect the water. So there's a green bin under that bench. So we take that out and we put it right here in the entryway. There's a finger pull.
Yeah, I said. Okay. Yep.
So that green bin,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a little thing in the green bin. So
Yep.
you need some way to get the water out of the bin and into the gray tank. And that's where that thing comes in,
Okay.
hooked up to... Oh, you pushed it all the way inside?
It's not all the way in, it should be just
I
inside.
can't reach it, but... Oh, there it is. So there is a little...
It's coming from inside, and if you want to open that door, Carl,
There we go. Okay, so...
there's
There's
this
a hose.
hose
Yep.
that runs under there that is
I don't know what it's-
accessible from underneath.
Okay, I see it.
So that... I usually will unscrew this, or yeah, unplug
Because that's
that.
just capping it off.
Connect this to this, and then that sits in
The bin.
the green bin to suck the water out.
Around
So the
the
water
edge.
will get sucked out from here and into the gray tank.
How do you turn that pump on, or is that just when
That's
you turn
the
this?
other button right
The
there.
other button next to it, the right. Okay.
So the first button this way is the water pump to give you fresh water.
Right.
The second button is for taking a shower to suck the stuff
Water.
out.
It pumps the water out of the.
Is that the only thing you use that other pump for?
Yep, it
Okay.
only sucks from here.
Okay.
And you
All right.
only use that for the shower.
Yep, and we'll leave that right there, and then
Can
we
put
usually
that
check that back in the bucket.
Usually I hang it up somewhere so that it, you know,
Let it
doesn't
dry before you
Yeah.
and get the bucket dry too.
Yeah.
So one other thing is that the water heater will heat up pretty hot. It's like 140, 150,
Okay.
very hot.
So you're gonna want to open that again.
And then we found that if you did this and you try to mix it, we would take Navy showers.
So explain what mixing means.
So we would want to get wet, then turn the
Turn it
water
off.
off, then suds up, and then rinse off.
Yeah.
And to find that middle spot of where it was just perfect was very hard. So we wanted to be able to put it on full hot.
Okay.
So you don't
But
have to
obviously
mess
that's
with
too
it.
hot.
Right.
So there's a mixing valve under here called a thermostatic mixing valve.
Okay.
Right here.
Oh, cool.
And it has numbers on it for temperatures and a dot right there.
Got it. So,
So it's-
then, assuming that you're getting 140 in, it mixes to it detects the and the output is the number that
Right.
you're
So
putting
we
there,
can put it on full hot,
and not boil
and we
yourself.
would put it on. I think it's set for 93 right now. That was our shower temperature.
Nice. Okay.
And then after the shower is over, we just turn it back
Which you don't have to do.
all the way up till if you turn that, you can feel it stop.
Yep.
That makes it, I don't know, was that about 110 degrees maybe? 100 degrees? And that was like for washing dishes and stuff. If you want it hotter,
You
you
press.
can push that in and keep turning.
Got it. Okay.
There's like a
I
safety
don't
so
know
you
why
don't burn
you'd ever
you
want
don't
it to
scald
be that
yourself.
hot.
Right, so you could
Washing
really just
dishes,
keep
I
it
don't
at the
know.
same temperature. If you accidentally knock it or something, then you'll know where you want it. But yeah, it might take some adjustment
Right.
how you like your shower, if you like it super hot or if you don't like it super hot. So
So for our showers, it was get the bucket out, hook up the cord, pull the curtain around, put this up top,
Rinse.
put it on the right temperature, make
Crank
sure
it
we
to the
have enough
top.
water,
Yep.
turn the pump on, and then usually she would start taking a shower, and we wouldn't put this on yet
Let it
until it was like filling up, and then I would turn it on.
Right, so it's not trying to pump something. Like
Yeah,
something, and
just-
you don't want it pumping.
It's a-
Right.
You don't want your pinky toast.
it just seems like it saves the life of
Right.
the pump, I think, if it's
Yeah, oh,
not trying to
definitely.
pump something that you
Something
don't
that-
have. Yeah.
And then we took that teak
Yes. That's it.
shower
Yep.
thing.
So
put
underneath
it
the
in
mat,
bucket so you're not standing in
the
dirty
teak,
water.
it fits perfectly inside, and the
So
bucket.
that was our shower routine. It's a little bit hokey, but for the amount of times we were doing it, and we started with Planet Fitness first. So for $25 a month, you get unlimited showers where, you know, when you're working out.
But it's a public
And
shower.
it's a public shower. Sometimes they
They're all
wouldn't work. and
inconsistent.
sometimes there was no drain.
Yeah.
So,
So-
then sometimes we go to the campgrounds and they have showers.
So up here we didn't talk about we
didn't,
got
huh?
some of these clips. So those help like if you're on a slant so that the curtain doesn't come back down the
Right. So we would use
Oh, I
that
see.
to hold it.
Yep, so we would clip it over by the shower head over there to keep it in
So I think
place.
we have a couple, two of these.
Yep.
Yep.
Another one there. Okay.
So
Yep.
maybe you want to pick up some more.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we would use them to clip this together to hold it closed too,
Oh, okay.
so that the water doesn't come out.
Yeah, because we're
don't
just
know
a
where
little bit crazy, I guess,
We're-
about not getting things
We were a
wet.
little
So
discombobulated this morning.
So we would clip everything, you know, the curtain would come around and right at this space that they came together, we would
Less
clip.
about privacy, more about keeping everything else
Yep.
dry.
Yes,
Yep.
because you really want to keep everything dry.
Right.
and it
in the
worked
van.
great.
You don't want anything to get-
We would just put like the shampoo right here or
Yeah.
hang it.
Yeah, so
on
you're
here.
reaching your hand through the curtain to turn it on and off and grab your stuff,
Yeah.
or we would hang things on the hook inside. So we had our soap in a
here.
bag, and we had our shampoo in little
So it
bottles
was
that we would
inside,
squeeze bottles.
razors or whatever,
Okay.
Yep.
that kind of thing.
We put these little funky little clips up here
Give us more
too, so you
elbow
can
room.
clip it
so you can kinda
to
make-
the side. Yep, and make it give you more elbow room.
Call those the,
Like
the
the
nail and shoulder.
There you go. Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it will just it kind of pulls it just enough
Gotcha.
to make it wider.
Okay, so bucket for the shower. We'll put this guy back in there.
Heater.
The heater. some other random bins, and there's some spongy cords.
Yeah, we can take that out for a minute and show you how much space is in there. So we had that one bin
There's not
in
enough
the back.
space for shoes.
There is. That's where other shoes go. Because there's actually space on the floor here. Because that bin is that the tub rests on top of that bin, so you can put shoes or whatever.
Oh, I see.
A few things in there. You can put other bins under there that would make it more organized, kind of like that one right there.
Got
And
it.
we kept our dirty clothes in the shower bin.
Yeah, so we just used a shopping bag, like disposable shopping bag that stay upright, and put inside there for our dirty
For
clothes.
your laundry.
Yep. So it's basically 2 loads of laundry in there.
Dirty laundry.
Or if you're, part-time, you don't have dirty laundry.
Right.
And then you even said you could close those if you wanted quick privacy in the middle of the day.
And then we'll use clips.
And then,
Closed.
right, without like not at night, but you needed privacy. Yeah.
I mean, you could still do it at night if you wanted to keep that warmer up there,
Right.
or cooler up there, and you warmer back.
Okay.
And then this also goes all the way. You have to kind of come in front of this to give privacy over the whole.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Oh, okay.
And then you can close it all the way up here. For the space, it's pretty awesome to be able to have that. And then the dials are
Okay,
right
so
there.
this
We
one
talked
is your
about that
fresh water.
earlier.
Okay.
The light one, the white one.
The white one is for fresh, that one is for gray.
Okay, white is white and gray is gray. It makes sense.
Right.
So
So
intuitive.
that one can fill up, and like I said, it will overflow. If you're taking a shower and this one fills up, same thing. It'll just overflow onto the ground.
Got it.
Now, a lot of places don't want you to do that. Even though it's considered gray water, it's just soapy water.
Right.
They don't want you dumping
Bad
that
form.
on the ground. Yeah.
Now,
But-
do they have floats in them? Is that how they work?
Yeah. So they're
So they're not exact. They might like sit there for a little while and then all of a sudden be like, oh, okay,
yeah,
you're
but they're-
half full
they're
now.
pretty good.
But it's usually about a quarter and then a quarter and then a quarter.
And if you're driving down bumpy roads or up a hill, it's
Don't
gonna
trust
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
be a little different. But so this one's 20 gallons. This one's 16 gallons.
Okay.
Freshwater is 20
Freshwater is 20.
and
Gray
gray
water is 16.
is 16.
And then to dump the gray water, there's a switch up the front. Can you point to it, Christine?
Right in front of the.
This one right here.
I see it.
So there are 2 switches. The one on the right does nothing.
That's
just
the
came
placebo
as two.
switch. You can do whatever you want. You can use that all the time.
It puts it into turbo mode.
That's right. That's the anti-gravity.
So the left one will open a switch, open a valve that's underneath the van. So the gray tank is underneath right here, sitting right here, 16 gallons. And if you flick it,
Does it have anything in it right now?
you can hear it.
Oh yeah.
So that's open. And then the water will come out. And like when I'm doing the bleach stuff, when I'm rinsing the tank, I have no problem running it down the gutter because it's just bleachy water.
Right.
So if you want to turn it off. And then when I dumped, I would, since it's just soapy water, I felt comfortable dumping it,
While driving.
especially if it was raining.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows.
Because you can see, right?
Or like dirt roads or
Plus,
things
it's
like
mixing
that.
with rainwater, so it's getting,
Diluted.
diluted. Thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Not a big deal. Okay,
Cool.
toilet. So this is, which I guess you guys already used.
We used a number as number one.
We've used
So some
one
people,
of the features.
yes. So some people will only use number one in here, in their van. Did you just turn off the lights?
I
hope.
guess I did.
Leaned against it.
Makes sense.
So can you
Oh.
turn them?
There we go.
So this has urine diversion. So number ones go in the front, number twos go down the hole. You just pull this little thing out.
Definitely do that first. Yeah.
Yep. Make sure you do that first. When you have a mess to clean up.
I mean, yeah, you can clean it if you want.
And you don't want water to go down this part.
Got it.
So don't think, oh, I'll spray in there and clean it.
Right.
No Clorox, no spray, Lysol sprays, nothing like that.
The
And you
opposite.
could
We
put
would- we
toilet
would
paper
wipe-
in there, but we found that it filled it up too fast, so
Yeah.
that's why we use the
The
doggy poo bags.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
So we almost exclusively use this toilet for everything.
Right.
And we found that about 2 days for 2 people,
Okay.
2 old people, we would need to dump the number ones.
Okay.
And we would just take it into a rest area, a porta potty. We would look for like parks.
Parks are really
Like-
good, great places
Right.
because they have, porta potties, or they have, bathrooms that you don't feel weird bringing.
We didn't dump it in like a McDonald's or a gas
No.
station, but it really doesn't smell that bad.
Right.
So
It doesn't smell at all.
it just felt funny to walk through the
Yeah.
store with it in the
So
So it
bag.
felt better going
They
to
probably
a park,
wouldn't even
you
know
Right.
what you were doing, but we looked for a toilet we could get right to.
Right.
And if you come home and dump it in the toilet at home,
Yeah.
you really can't tell.
Sure.
So for number 2's in here, we found at about a week or two for 2 people,
Oh wow. Okay.
it was about right. It all depends on wetness.
And there's only a
So-
little bit. I only put a teeny bit in there right now, and I have a whole already prepared peat moss or cocoa core behind.
So you already did this jug.
Yeah, we've done that one, yeah.
So this one just comes out as well. We usually take the number 1 jug out, and then this comes out.
Why don't you take it out? You have to open the thing all the way.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's kind of it
Wanna
kind of
just- let's
opens
just
and
put it
then
right
like
here.
feels like it's all the way open, but then it can open more.
Oh, I see.
And so it just has a gear in there that spins to mix that. And it has a fan.
And it will spin it if
Little
you
tiny computer
where's-
fan.
Oh, the button's up there.
So
Show
right
them what
now,
the button is.
hold on a second. Right now, it's sucking in air through this side. And then it's pushing it out through this side,
Okay.
outside. And all that's doing is trying to get rid of the moisture.
Okay.
And it smells like gas, but it really, honestly, does not smell that much.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't even tell.
That's crazy.
Doesn't smell that much. It doesn't smell like anything except
'Cause
for
they say-
once in a great while, maybe it smells like coffee grounds or mulch. Like that's
Crazy.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what we do,
Except for when you're actually going,
she usually does
but it
this
usually
part.
gets all that gets sucked out. So
While I'm in dumping number 1's, she'll dump this. And this is almost what it looks like. This isn't
Oh.
used at all,
Right.
but it almost looks this consistency when you dump it.
that's
Okay.
basically the consistency you want.
And that's
is
about
that-
how much you of
No,
that stuff you
so
want
that's
in?
only a
No.
little teeny bit
Oh,
that I
okay.
put in there.
Okay.
We'll show you. It's
After
down
I,
there.
so I do use when I dump it, I do use Clorox wipes to wipe the whole inside,
Yeah.
just
Right.
to
She's got,
have
like,
it
rubber gloves
fresh, and then I let it air dry, and then I put the new
Yeah.
stuff in.
So glove up
Stuff in.
because it is
Yes,
waste.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But you want it about that consistency. If it's getting wetter, if you feel like it's sticking to the sides, you're doing
You
something wrong and
you
it's
don't
getting
want,
too wet.
You don't want
Okay.
brownie batter. You
Okay.
want it to
Right.
be free flowing.
Gotcha.
So if,
Kind
it,
of dry
if, you,
looking. Okay.
if you find it's getting too wet and sticking to the sides and
Something's
stuff,
wrong.
change it more often.
Right.
Something-
It's not the worst thing
It's not
ever.
the worst thing. It's just can be a little
And it
messy.
took us a little while to figure out the consistency, and that wasn't super fun, but
Right.
we
and
would just
we would
use,
ask our friends.
you know, a stick or a knife or something to get all the
To
rest
get
of
it
it
right
out,
out.
and then
Right,
put
right.
it in the trash
and
bag.
so
Yep.
if you watch that, like I think I have it on there it is. So I've got it re-engaged back on.
And
Now
show them
here-
where the button is, though.
and so there's a button right here.
Yep.
And the button does 2 things. The first one is after we go number 2, we just push the button and it stirs it up.
Okay.
It's just like a mixer. It goes off by itself. The second thing the button does is it has, if
you can
there's
also
no
press
light
it to
on there.
stop it. You can also press it to stop it. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Just learned something. You can tell that there's no light on it right now. But if you start filling this up, there's a little sensor right there.
The pee bucket,
Okay.
not the pee
This will
bucket.
turn red. The number 1's.
Okay. Okay.
So if this is red,
You
that
need to-
means you probably need to.
Time to don't
Yeah.
pee again.
You probably could go a couple more times. Like it
But
gives
I
you
also don't trust electronics, so
Right.
I look.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes, like, we'll empty it and put it back in, close it all up, and then the red light's on. You're like, what?
Just emptied it.
And
We
I
just
think
emptied
it's
it.
sensing like a little bit of wetness on the inside of the tank or something.
Right. Right.
So
And
I
we
wouldn't
also
trust the
use
red
we
light.
also use soap to shake it out, to kind of clean it out
Yeah,
each time.
we did that one,
So
yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
the soap is
Like kinda
messes
like
with the
it off
sensor.
with the
So
yeah.
we used a water bottle, like a regular, I don't know, is that a quart?
24 ounce or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a bike water
We
bottle.
would fill it with water,
Mm-hmm.
add a squirt of soap, and then like you did, we would just
Shake it.
dump this,
Dump it.
then pour in the water, put the top back on, shake it, and then pour that out as well.
Because we're just
And
extra
then-
clean people.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
She
I
would
don't
give
think
me a
we smell it.
Lysol wipe, and I would wipe
Just
down
in
the whole
case it
outside.
drips
Outside.
somewhere,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
You just
that's-
You'll need it,
yeah.
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 Where's
that's-
the,
Of all
where's the cap
things.
for that?
It's in the.
It's in
In
open
here.
that
So we
door.
keep it,
It's very strong magnet.
That's right.
So that's the cap right there.
Got it.
And then we use doggy poo bags to put our toilet paper in.
what am I doing
so we could throw that away right away.
While you're in bathroom mode, you usually like that, just leave that open like that, right?
Yes, because then you got your toilet paper. And then I use the vinegar squirt bottle just to kind of help keep it clean.
You just sprayed
Yeah.
the
This is your
top
surface
part.
cleaner.
Okay.
Okay.
And then Clorox wipes, just
So
so you
this
know, hold on, do fit very well right there. And toilet paper also fits in there.
It's okay to keep stuff back there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There's no.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want
And
to
we put 'em in
bang
here,
the cords too much,
So-
and the hose could come off if you mess with it too much too.
Right.
Do you
So
want to pull out that baggie?
yeah, but in a second.
Okay.
So if you leave the top on, you won't be able to close this,
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Because this thing will hit the top.
The pee bottle, right?
okay.
If
so
you
if it's not
accidentally leave.
closing,
maybe you left the lid on.
probably left the lid on, and you don't want to use it if the lid's on.
No, you do not.
Make sure
And
that-
also, it might
do
be
not.
surprising, but you might not think about it to put the cap on when you're taking it out. But
Right.
put the cap on when you take it
Take
out.
it out.
because-
Yeah, because you don't want splashing happening.
So this thing is pretty simple. It just has a hose with this rubber thing.
Okay.
It goes on. There's like a little nipple on the back that it goes onto. And it just holds on there by friction.
Got it. Okay.
Let's get it back
And
in.
it really is just an air outtake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very low volume,
Mhm.
very low pressure. And then there's just this
It's not a
cord
strong fan at all.
that
does the
plugs
trick.
into the back. How is it?
Which does lead me to remember, if you are going potty, or especially number 2, and you have your Maxxair Fan on sucking out, you're more likely to get your number 2 aromas coming into the
Right,
fan, because
so-
it's stronger. That fan is stronger than this
so
little baby fan.
if you're all buttoned up and you have that thing sucking out, it'll overpower this.
That makes
and
sense.
It'll pull the air through it, so just crack a window or something like that.
And it doesn't really matter which direction you have the Maxxair Fan going, because either way, it's going to get the air circulation in. So we always had it coming in. Yep.
Okay. So this
You always
is,
had this
The
fan,
fan.
going in.
Yes.
Got it.
so this is the Cocoa Core,
Okay.
and we can send you a link to the stuff that we get at Petco.
Okay.
And it just
So-
comes, we don't have any of the bricks.
I know that we
Oh,
don't
no,
have
no. That's kind of
kind
what
of
they
a
look
block.
like.
So it comes in
It's
like a
expanded,
brick,
though.
a
Okay,
very
and then you
stiff
have to break
brick.
it up.
Yeah. So I will put
You won't
a,
be able to break it up.
no.
Oh.
I will put a whole brick in this. Is it 2 gallon? I think this is a
This
2
3-gallon
gallon
bag.
3 gallon bag, and then I will reconstitute it with I think it's
Cup of
2
water?
cups of water, and just pour it in
And
the
a half a
bag.
brick. Or a whole
A
brick?
whole brick, because we can't break
So
the
a
brick.
whole brick,
Yes.
2 cups of water,
Yep.
and then after an hour or something, you'll be able to start
It
breaking
starts
it up.
to get bigger, and then you can break it up,
then we can
and
start
then
breaking
I
it
just
up.
kind of knead it a little bit to kind of get it more separated.
So if you feel that, you can feel that, like this part is still a little solid, but this part is already easily
Oh, yeah.
breaking up.
Yep. And you want it pretty much like loose sand in
Like what's in
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing. You add 2
Like
cups
peat
of
moss.
water, and it still feels dry. Like you
People use
can't
peat
tell.
moss too.
Yeah.
We like this
But
stuff.
you'll
like the
send us the
Cocoa Core.
link to what this
Yep.
is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
At
On
Petco.
Petco.
since we will, the van will be sitting for a while. Like you have that
I would just
little bit in there. Like what would you do for?
I would just dump it and clean the bucket, and then put the stuff in before you go.
Got it.
But I don't even think it's like if you went out for a weekend and used it once, it's not going to be a problem to have it sit there for weeks.
Okay.
I don't think because it's
Interesting.
going to dry out.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And it's always on. The fan is always on.
Yeah, you can hear it.
That makes sense.
So you know how to do the bed.
Yep.
Just putting the 3 pieces down.
Yes.
And remind me, this what's this cut off go to?
Because she wanted it to go around that.
Okay, so this is the back piece.
Yeah. So we do this one with no tabletop thing is the back.
Okay.
The
Just because it
one-
didn't
the
link
bigger
that well,
tabletop-
you know.
The bigger tabletop is the middle, and then the smaller tabletop is the front.
But and it also has the little
It
cutout,
also has
so
a
it's a little
notch.
fitch.
Right.
Okay.
So there's really only one way that you can
Pretty much. Yeah.
get it
Right.
if you put it in.
And the
right.
cutouts, it just didn't look pretty without the little
Yeah.
plastic pieces on there. So like, why not finish it pretty, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Because it needs to be pretty.
Exactly. I mean, that's important. That's
And pretty.
Important.
Making it pretty.
And the marine vinyl walls and
Passenger side.
the cubbies. Heavy storage.
So we put all our bedding in this side, and
Which
there's
we
a
did
USB
leave.
outlet down here too.
Yeah, inside.
So there's two in the front, two in the middle, and two in the back. We mostly only ever use the back ones
Okay.
because we charge our phones when we're sleeping.
Right.
Okay, so this side right now has the Moonshade
Oh, okay.
and the Moonshade stuff. There's some like suction cup mounts and magnetic mounts.
Easier.
None of them really worked well for us.
Okay.
That's why we put the
So-
permanent eye hooks
that's
on
why,
top.
yeah.
Oh, I see. So, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and we ended up stuffing stuff everywhere. So like under here, we would stuff under there. We actually had our chairs in here and the Moonshade at one point.
Okay.
Starlink. Like I said, blankets in here. Then this was like all extra stuff. Like pickleball paddles and binoculars.
My craft supplies.
Because then you had all your clothes and stuff in the
And
bins.
yeah,
The bins
and then you
up-
had bins
up
up here
yeah.
Okay.
with all the clothes.
15-inch tall, fits great, and they stay really well in the lip.
Right.
Yep. We never had them fall out.
Ever. Not even if I just had one in there because we were unpacking or whatever.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so 80-20. So the build is basically the walls are all bolted on, so everything can come off. It takes time, but these are bolted in, so there's no screws to strip or anything like that.
Okay.
They're just machine bolts here and here.
And what do
wherever
they
you see them.
call the receiving end that's actually in the frame of the van?
There's a plus nut
Okay.
that's in the frame of the van. So these are attached directly to the frame of the van.
Okay.
All
Which
the
makes
wall
it
panels.
very
all three of
safe
them.
and durable, and then you can redo it.
Right, so there's 3 panels over here, there's 2 panels over there, and 1 panel up there
Okay.
for wall panels, and you can
Okay.
take them all.
You can
Maybe
see the
it's 3.
seams, so easy to see
I
the
think there might be
seams.
3 because it looks like
Yeah.
1, 2, and
Yep.
okay.
Okay, so they are 1/4-inch plywood. Then we painted them, I think, for moisture barrier,
Yeah, moisture barrier,
and then
Zinzer.
wrapped them with marine grade
vinyl.
vinyl for easy cleaning.
One-sided. I mean, they're wrapped around the edges, the sides,
Yeah,
but so
yeah.
not the
So-
back side.
Yep.
The ceiling is tongue and groove, and they're held in with these straps on all the ribs. So this is the ribs, again bolted into plus nuts, so these can come down. So if you ever need to replace wiring,
You can get to it.
yeah,
And you only
Maxxair
have to
Fan
take
can do
out
that.
one section if
These-
you want. You
These
don't have to
little
take
puck
everything
lights, they get stuck from the paint, but they can come down, and they like to snap your fingers.
They have a spring-loaded
I see.
arm,
Okay.
a couple of arms.
And then they are on these little Wago connectors.
Okay.
If we use the traditional butt connectors and crimp them on, then every time you need to replace these, the wires would get shorter and shorter and shorter. So these, you can just flip this little guy out
Oh, very nice.
and pull them out, and then put them back in again.
That's awesome.
All of the wires are running obviously from the battery. Like so for these,
Through the walls.
yeah, so for the plugs down there and stuff like that, they all run through the ceiling and down the other wall. They are all run though with marine grade wiring. So that white, it looks like Romex, but it's not.
Okay.
There's only 2 wires in it instead of a normal house would have 3, because there's only a positive and a negative for DC. So it's all marine grade wire all throughout the van. In a traditional home, you would have solid wire, so the core of the wire would be solid.
Yep.
Since the van moves so much like a boat, we use marine grade wire, so it's all stranded.
Okay.
So if
It's a
you
little
had
flex.
a solid and it flexed and broke, you would have arcing at that point. Since it's all stranded, there's many strands in there, so if one breaks, it's not a big deal.
Right.
But they're all running up through here, over and down, and the individual wires have sheathing on them, and then that white outer that looks like Romex is a sheathing as well, and then where it goes into the wall, there's an additional sheathing that I put on it.
Okay.
It's like a plastic stuff that they wrap wires in for cars.
Okay.
Because there are some sharp edges coming through, like all the holes.
Because
coming
it's all
through.
metal,
Right.
the
that you
metal
don't wanna
edges.
catch on.
Right. So I tried to wrap anything that was sharp, because that's going to cut through the sheathing. And so I would wrap that, and then the wires basically have 3 sets of sheathing.
Right. That extra layer. Okay.
Okay, the
Because
water.
we're extra.
That's right. That's extra, extra.
The water doesn't go anywhere. It's just right here in these two cabinets.
Right.
So this whole build is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cabinets. And like when I put in, what did I do last? Oh, I was doing the Starlink. So I unbolted this whole upper cabinet and took it off.
Okay.
So it's bolted into the ceiling ribs at each of these places, and it's bolted into the back, into more plus nuts in the back. So if you unbolt all those, this whole cabinet just comes right off.
Got it.
So if you ever need to get to wall panels or things like that, so I was able to unbolt this whole wall panel and run the Starlink cable down from there up to the ceiling.
So you didn't have to touch anything
Right.
anywhere else because
Right.
it's all.
So the solar cables, the Maxxair cable, and the Starlink cable come up through this wall. Sometimes they come up over here, sometimes up over there. And then there's a hole to the roof right about here that all those wires come down. They go down there and then through there and then down there.
Got it. Okay.
It's kind of a, you're not going to be able to feed a wire down without taking panels off.
Panels
Makes
off,
sense.
right.
But these panels are all made to come off.
Got it. Okay.
This is just butcher block, and then it's bolted. 80/20 comes with these little angle brackets.
Okay.
So I've used a bunch of these. So those just come out with an Allen wrench, just non-metric, just regular Allen wrench. For those, for these guys up here, they all come out. Let's see, microwave, just a regular. We got this at Walmart.
Walmart one day, we're like, oh,
It's
let's
like a
go get a
700 watt.
microwave. Okay.
I think it says 700 watt.
1,000.
watt.
There you go.
But it'll pull 1,500.
That's interesting.
I don't know where the extra 500 watts go. Smoke detector, just standard CO and fire.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yes, but she still sets it off. She's cooking.
Oh, cooking.
And then the microwave is just kind of,
Is it just battery?
yeah, it's just battery powered. The microwave is just kind of sitting in here, and then it's strapped down,
I see the straps on
this strap,
Okay.
and it doesn't move.
And you can make it pretty by putting books back there or whatever.
She
Some
always wanted me to put like
decor.
something on the top and like trim on it.
Oh
and
yeah, so
stuff.
show them. I keep doing that. So show them that black piece of trim that's in the groove of the 80/20
this-
right there.
Oh, yeah.
That just fills the groove. The grooves in the 80/20 are really handy though for sometimes. Like you can buy like attachments that go in here.
Like hanger
And this, yeah, if
things
you
and-
wanted to add stuff. So we'll send you the link and you can look through like what they have.
Right.
Yeah, like here, you can do this with the little fan.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
so I just did the fan in there, these little guys, and then this thing I just drilled through and bolted into there. So this is a USB fan,
Uh-huh.
and it just goes all the way back here into this.
Oh, okay.
So everything, the cabinets, these 6 cabinets are all individual units. So they are bolted to the wall where I could. Obviously, I can't bolt it here. So it's bolted right here to the wall, and then it's bolted to this cabinet, and this cabinet's bolted to the wall.
Right, and thus very stable.
Right. So if I wanted to take out a cabinet, I could just unbolt it. I think there's probably 6 or 8 bolts, and disconnect these water pipes and stuff like that, and just take this whole thing out. I don't know why you'd want to do that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I don't
could.
know why.
You did it several times, but,
Yes.
but now you've tuned it, so we shouldn't have
You
to.
shouldn't have to do that.
Okay, the fridge. So this is the
Oh, yeah.
induction cooktop, and everything for Christina has to be in a bag, in a bin.
Right.
So it goes in the bag.
You don't want to drive around with everything rattling, and you
No,
don't want things breaking.
I appreciate that so
You
much.
know?
All of these are marine latches.
Did you have all your pots and pans in a bag too then? Or did you just have
Yes.
them
So I bought those little cotton like mesh bags that sometimes
They're like for reusable fruit bags for like Whole
I can use
Foods or
them for a bunch
something.
of different things, but I can. There's a bunch of them on
You send a
Amazon. I
picture
can
or
send
something
these.
that-
Yeah.
Okay, so the fridge, there's 2 latches, one on either side to
We
hold
did
this
show
guy
them the
shut.
latch. Yeah.
So I unlatch it, and then I always just unlatch this one, and it kind of goes against the thing, and it lets me pull it.
Oh, okay.
That's how I do it. She's got little fingers. So.
Okay.
You'll come up with your own way, and then it'll be a
Exactly.
But
breeze.
man, if this thing slams open when you're driving,
Yeah,
It
it's
scares me.
scary.
scary. So this is just, we always did this side freezer, that side fridge.
Just because that side's
Doesn't
a little
really
bit,
matter.
a little bit smaller, and
Right.
it worked
So
out.
to work the fridge, it's got a plug here. Like
Okay,
more
hold
efficient.
on. Here, let's pass it to Carl, and he can work with that side.
So it's more efficient to be on 12 volt. So
Okay.
that's what this plug is. If you ever wanted to like bring it in your garage for the winter, store extra stuff in it or whatever, you can plug the AC plug goes in here, and then you can just plug it into a regular socket. Just don't do them at the same time. This guy then goes back in the back, and there's a cigarette lighter socket back there on the floor
Got it.
that this is plugged into.
Okay.
It's back there on the floor as well,
Oh, I see it.
but I don't ever use it unless we put it in the
Yeah, it's probably
in the
just a
garage.
standard.
Yep.
So
And
to
then-
turn the fridge on, what do we do again?
So we'll get
okay.
up to that
Oh,
side.
okay.
And then there's a fan that's actually up in the corner because sometimes this thing gets a little warm, and so I wanted to be able to push the air out this way. And so I put a fan, just a regular computer fan up in the corner that's 12 volt, and then there's a grate that you can probably see
Yes.
in here to let it
Airflow.
vent into there because
Airflow,
all
yeah.
the air's coming out back here.
And have things not fall into it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
if you put
Both.
things in
Yes.
storage.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So how does that fan get turned on, or
it's just always going.
oh, it's always going. Okay.
Yeah, there's probably a switch on it. Actually, I don't hear it, so maybe I turned it off. So there's just a switch on the cord. It's just
Okay. Yeah.
like a computer
Basic
fan.
yeah.
Okay, so the fridge turns on from this side. So maybe,
Okay.
do you want to come over this side too?
Carl, you want- I can
And
do
I
this.
will
so
crawl
cozy.
over here.
You go in front.
So the fridge also has an app, but it's not the greatest. Sometimes it like just won't connect.
Okay.
Can you see okay?
So these are the on-offs. It also has a USB. I don't know why you would want to charge your phone from your fridge, but so
If you're
we're just gonna push that. It turns on. It's automatically going to start cooling to these temperatures or to the set temperatures. You can tell it's on DC, and nobody's connected via Bluetooth. So these are the current temperatures for the fridge and the freezer.
Okay.
For us, you can see a little cutout. That means it's the back one. And then if I go in,
because the freezer is like an L shape, a Tetris L shape.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's where the
Where
compressor
the
is.
I mean, I say freezer because that's what we use that side
because it was a
for.
little smaller.
Right.
Right. So I push
And
this.
wait, one more, sorry, because it fits the ice cube tray.
Oh,
Ice cubes are very important to me.
okay, gotcha.
So if I push this, it gets me into the menu. So you can do the set temperatures, and I have it currently set as 39 for the fridge, 10 for the freezer.
Okay.
And you can just change these.
And those temperatures have worked for you guys?
Yeah.
Just I
Yeah.
mean, I don't need
So
to
just playing
rethink
around
it
with the
if it worked for
buttons.
you.
Yeah. And we've been in all different temperatures, so.
So battery protection, I don't even know what it does. Just leave it on medium. And then if you want to hook your phone up, the app will take you through the Bluetooth setup.
got it.
And then I think there's even a Wi-Fi option, but I would want this to connect to my Wi-Fi and then like alert me when the thing's too low. But I think what you do is you turn on the Wi-Fi and the app connects over Wi-Fi for some reason. I don't know.
Oh.
But
What's the brand of the fridge?
it's Dometic.
Dometic.
Yep.
The best.
She loves it.
Yeah.
You missed
you
it a
can,
little bit.
yeah,
And
very
do you
much.
leave this in all the time?
No, that was
It's just
just,
the air.
I like airflow because
okay.
even
Yeah,
though
yeah.
it's
So
you're not
cleaned
using it.
and
Just like a cooler gets kind of that
Yeah.
musty
So
Yeah.
if you're using it, you want to take those out.
Right.
And you want to make sure they latch
latch. Okay, I heard that.
shut. And then there's a drain in the bottom if you need to.
And-
It doesn't really get that frosty, even the freezer side, but that's just a plug if you want to like drain it out. But then I don't know how you would get. You'd have to lift it up.
Right. I'm guessing it's heavy too.
So and then these kind
very
of
heavy.
Okay, so you can
It's
wipe
not
it out.
that heavy.
Yeah, you can wipe it out.
it's
So
heavy
we
just for
use the main basket, but
Yeah.
I
We used
use
it-
the middle
we
section
used it
because
like
it
that.
was limiting. I felt like.
Okay.
So.
But you can have this.
And in the freezer side, the other side, the ice cube tray only fits in there if you don't have the
Right, so
basket
this one
in the bottom.
I see the
has
basket.
this basket and that basket.
And where
we-
did the ice cube tray go?
It's in there.
Okay.
But we would just take the bottom basket out.
Out. Because
And
then
so
the
we
ice
never
tray,
use that, and we never use the
Because the
separator.
regular size, yeah, because the regular size
Yeah.
ice cube tray will fit in there when
When the basket's
and you can
out.
put two of them in there.
Because you can stack, you just stack them, yeah.
Yeah.
You just want to make sure they're both locked. And
And then,
and then we should probably turn it off.
yes, yes.
And to do that, I just hold it down.
Press and
And
hold.
it'll eventually go off.
Okay.
So the screen's off.
Cool. Screen's
And
off.
that will be the thing that consumes the most energy in here.
Right.
Because
It's running
consistent.
24 hours a
Yeah.
day.
Right, exactly, yeah.
It's
makes
pretty
sense.
efficient. So as long as you have sunny days every now and then,
Yep, you're fine. And
you're
of course,
fine.
as long as you're driving every once in a while.
Right, right.
fine.
And it will keep ice cream hard.
Yeah.
Most freezers, portable freezers, do not do that. It will be soft ice cream, but
Yeah. So
that will
this is
freeze
a
pretty hard.
compressor style fridge. The other one is called absorption. And it's usually in the little dorm fridges. And they have a little tiny freezer.
Oh yeah.
And those will not keep the ice cream cold. So
now, did we have something in the bottom of the drawer that keeps the fridge from slipping around a little,
there's
that
like a
little bit?
knot underneath it. Did
So-
you get it?
I did.
Can you
so-
get that one?
Let's see.
Get little tiny fingers.
She's got little tiny fingers.
Like
Nice.
giant sausages.
Exactly. I'm somewhere in between.
So if you find that the lids do not stay open, then you probably just need to slide the fridge a little forward
Right.
inside the drawer
Oh,
But you
okay.
should be
That's
able
what
to
you're
pull it all the way out, put the top
and hold
up,
the lids up. Unless
if
you're at
you're
a
level-
slant. If you're at a slant,
it'll stay
it'll
up.
be hard to keep them open. But other than that, they should stay open. And if they don't, it's probably because it shifted just a little bit in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
And we
makes
did
sense.
put that little rubber bottom thing in there, but
to try and help, but it,
to try
it
to help.
moves.
It moves.
it does. Yeah.
Vibration.
Yeah. Especially if you're doing dirt roads or.
So if we wanted to time ahead, do we need to kind of cool down the
I'll
fridge
put it on the day before.
the day before?
It's pretty quick to cool down.
And if you
then
put,
I would throw
if you
some
put
water
things,
bottles.
well, if you
Yeah.
put things that are already cold in there, that helps a lot.
Sure.
But it's not like the absorption
It's
fridge.
pretty good.
It
But it
cools
does. It
pretty
needs
fast.
some thermal mass in there to.
That helps a lot.
Otherwise, you're just cooling
But,
air and
yeah.
there's nothing.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So the problem with the bug wall, this version, at least I don't know if they've changed it, is that when you open the doors and put the screens down, you really should put this up to stop the bugs going in.
Otherwise,
those
you've got
holes.
2 holes. yeah.
Right, exactly.
But I forget that we put it up.
And then you close
and then
the
I
doors.
close the door.
hence
and
hence
that's-
the holes.
Yes,
So
yes.
no need to worry if you close it on there.
And I'll slam it
It's
on,
meant to
and I'll be
be.
like, "That didn't feel right. Is there something in the way?" And I'll close it again, and I'll be like, "Oh,
Dang it.
And we tried everything. She put little streamers on here to remind
Just to remember,
me.
and he's one track mind. He's got his
Yep.
because
head
I'm
down.
over there and I don't look, and I'll just slam the door shut.
But you know what? It's okay because bugs aren't really going to get through those little holes, and now the door will close with it on there.
Maybe.
Mostly. Do you want to put those down and show how they work? They unzipper completely out if you want.
I'll
Which,
do one second.
and the back side, in hindsight, we would have got the zipper center because the magnets will magnet to the back of the door.
Right. So this is all magnets,
Oh, okay.
and it magnets to this side. And then these all snap together.
Gotcha.
So you can kind of walk through them, and then they do that. The problem is, since the doors are metal, when we close this, it sticks to here. And it's not a...
It's not the worst thing, but
the worst
in
thing.
hindsight, we would have got a zipper maybe. It wouldn't have been as easy to get in and out of, but so there's pros and cons to everything. But we do love it.
You got the other door that you usually are using to get in
That
and out.
works. Yes, mostly. Yep.
All right. So that's the back, I think.
Okay.
So when you're camping during the day, hanging out, do you usually would you usually leave the doors open like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Because then we're outside,
if you
right?
search
Inside but
van life
outside.
stuff on Instagram,
Yeah.
you'll see people who... They've got their bed and the doors open to the ocean. It almost never happens.
No, that's not true. It happens a lot.
No, it does not. I can't think of one.
I have seen those pictures.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those
pretty
pictures.
I've
I mean,
envisioned that.
will you
Most of the time-
will you show that shade?
Most of the time, these are down.
Well, you're trying to conserve temperature. So oftentimes it's cold out, and so you
Yeah.
want that for insulation, or it's very hot out and you don't want the
We're
sun.
in Florida.
So,
can you imagine Florida with the doors open at the beach with no bug screen?
Right.
Yeah, no.
Even
All right,
with
and then you can pull that
But
off.
with the bug screen, though, you usually...
We pull it off.
So this is how you'd
No,
sit.
just leave it down.
Yes. Yeah, so you can just pull the whole thing off.
Right. Oh, right.
Oh, the whole window shade?
Yeah. or you can leave it up there and just open and close it partially or halfway.
Right, those are nice.
From the Wanderful.
They're wonderful. Yeah, they're very
Nice Canadian company.
Canadian, eh?
He's actually a good van builder too.
Nice.
All right, so
Oh wait, hold on. We didn't show these curtains. So I think I probably already told you that these curtains
it's just
on the
a,
side
shower
are
curtain,
yeah.
and she would.
But I put
close
magnets.
those.
I put magnets down the side
I would
so
just
that they
get rid
will.
of them. It was me, but they
They're-
do magnet together, and she didn't want to get stuff inside if it was raining and I was filling the water. Again, what
Or
are the
bugs
chances
or
both?
whatever. But it's
Definitely
also a
else.
quick privacy curtain if you
Right.
want to change
like if
really
you didn't want
quick.
to change, close the
Yeah.
doors and do all that. You
Right.
could just close
But
those.
usually
Exactly.
These are down, so it
Yep.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, so the center is magnetized so that it will stay closed.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
All right, let's go inside.
Okay.
it's waterproof on this side and not waterproof on that side.
Gotcha.
You have the same bug wall screen here.
Yeah.
They both of them, the front and back, zip out, so you can take it out completely. It does leave this little edge
Yes.
part,
Yes.
but you can. We sometimes zip them out and chuck them up here,
Mm-hmm.
just because I'm tall and they hit my head when I'm coming in and out.
Right.
Do you want to say
Sa-
that and
same thing.
film that up there?
Same thing with the magnets. So it's split down the middle
Okay.
with magnets, and then up top we have this shelf that we usually just keep the window shades on. So again, these are from the Wanderful.
Yes.
And there's window shades for the 3 front windows up here.
Did you want us to show you the front ones? You kind of figured that out,
I
right?
figured them out,
Okay.
yeah. Well, once I realized not to put it upside down.
And then there's one for the side window. And then there's even this one for the
Maxxair Fan.
Maxxair Fan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did put that on. That-
Which we should go over the Maxxair Fan because
Yes.
that was it was I had not I don't think ever done this before, but you know how like I thought it was still open
Yes.
and you thought you had closed it?
Yes.
Well, the fan was off, but you can still
Yeah.
open the hatch. So the hatch was still open and you can
Which we never
tell we didn't I don't know that we've ever
Okay.
done that, but
Okay.
And then these are the screens that we put in the front passenger and
Those are
driver
so
window.
cool, yeah.
yeah.
So you just roll the window down, jam it up there, and then roll the window up carefully.
Also, you can get airflow.
Yeah, so
If it's super
we
hot,
used to use these a lot, but then once we got, why did we stop using them? We just used
because
them
we
the
put our
back?
window we put our window
This
in.
one.
we put the window in.
With
and we
that
just
has a
cranked that.
screen.
And that's
Yes.
what we used.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
we
had
almost
that night, and it was great.
Yeah.
we almost never use these now.
But I would also say those screens are, you probably could get no seams in there because it's not a super fine
Yeah.
screen. And I was going to buy some screen material to kind of glue on the other side just to make sure that there's no any little bugs.
Little
that
I don't know
get-
that mosquitoes could get through it.
No,
but
but-
no
Tiny
seams
bits.
for sure would get through.
What are they called?
No seams because you can't see them. You just feel a bite you and you're like, what?
Where did that come
Yeah,
from?
what is that? Where did I get a bite?
This is
Yeah.
the thermometer. We
Oh yeah,
talked
the
about.
thermometer.
So the top number is from the outside underneath.
And that's just
this
mounted
is-
on with command strips.
No, this one's actually screwed in.
Oh, it
so
is? Oh, that's right.
Oh, nice.
we hid the little bolt.
Yes.
That's cool.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And then we hid a bolt behind here too. So
Oh,
this
okay.
is bolted in just like that.
Nice.
So you made me get a spice rack and we never used it.
We'll use it.
What else? It's all insulated with Thinsulate everywhere we could stuff it, which is hydrophobic, so it's supposed to not keep water in it. Though there are plugs in the bottoms of the wall that's supposed to let the water drain out if it ever gets water in it.
So insulation in the ceiling, the walls, and the floor. I think it's about
Yeah,
an inch and a half.
floor is actually
maybe
an inch.
2.5.
It's pretty tall.
They
What
felt
do we
pretty
want to talk about
insulated.
with the Maxxair Fan?
Oh, yeah, the back.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we only ever use like this button, the on-off.
Okay.
So if I push that and point it at it, it'll turn on. So that was this button.
Yeah.
Turn it on, and then these guys go more fan, less fan. So if I point it at it, so that's these two buttons here.
Okay.
And then if you want to reverse it to suck air
Reverse
in,
direction. Show Catherine the
so I'm pushing
reverse
this button right here,
Okay.
button.
Okay.
and I'm gonna press it, and then it's gonna slow down,
And then
it's
start
gonna switch
going
direction, and then start pushing air out.
But
That's
you
pushing
usually
Out.
Yeah, did I say in or out? I can't even tell. When I hold my hand, I cannot tell.
You have to just watch when it first speeds up. When it first
Yeah,
spins.
well, you can't even see which way.
Or,
like,
but feel it. Put your hand in front of it.
I know it says out,
So,
so I think it's out.
meaning
But
pulling air out.
but I can feel
Yep.
air like coming in.
yeah, I
here.
can feel it on me.
Because it has to replace
I feel like that on our
space.
ceiling fan in the bedroom too, because like, they're like, if you reverse it in
Yeah.
the winter, it pulls air, and I
Yeah.
Right.
It just moves air around.
it just moves it around.
So
That's one of
this
the reasons
reverse
why
button,
we did
Okay.
move
the
it.
fan up and down,
Okay.
the power on and off,
Okay.
and then if I hit the power button again, it will close. It turned off the fan and closed
And
the hood.
close the hood.
Right.
That's cool.
So if you want to just open and close the hood without turning the fan on, that's just this button.
So
right
that's
here.
what we had. That's what we
Oh.
did when you guys were here,
Yes.
and it. So the hood was open,
'Cause I
which
could
can
see it
help.
open.
Yeah, which can help get the hot air out. It doesn't
Right.
need suction sometimes,
Right.
but so you can see though from outside. You can see when it's open. It's tall.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So you want to make sure because
You
it's gonna
never
be
wanna
taller.
drive
than
driving.
yeah. It'll be a little
It
taller.
happens.
I know, but it'll
mean,
be a little taller. I mean, you're generally not going to be going in any kind of.
That close, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
But just
it's
so
not
you know.
really gonna hurt it unless it's like really windy out
Right.
to hurt it. But we always had it down. And in fact, our friend Steve won't put it down when they're driving. Like if we realized it was up, we would just reach back with the remote and go click, and turn it off. He thinks there's too much pressure on the little arm, and so he'll pull over, put the thing down, and then drive again. I don't know. Maybe he's being overly cautious. Maybe.
Right.
But we're
being too
overly
callous.
cautious with everything, and
So for certain
yeah,
things too.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
There is one other function on this. It's called auto,
okay.
and you set the temperature
Okay.
that you want this at, and it knows what
So
the
it-
temperature is in this,
Right.
and it's supposed to turn it on and off and open and close as
Based
it
on
needs it, but we
temperature.
never use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
And then the little silver rings are for that awning,
okay.
so it clips into that side, and it clips into that ring on the front.
Got it. Okay.
And so the awning is kind of a rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like 9 feet by 7 feet. And so you can either do the first ring
Got
in
it.
that one, and it comes out longer, or you can do
Long
the
and
second one, and that one, it comes out shorter, but
Cool.
whichever you want.
And are there poles then that go on this
Yeah.
side? Okay.
Yep. So basically, this works like a tent. It has 2 of these rods, and they just go into the
Okay.
sleeves, and then these things snap on.
Snap on. That's the easy part.
So the only little funny thing about it is you see all these little cords hanging off.
Yeah.
So in order to get it
All
up
these
here,
little cords trailing. Strings.
in order to get it onto that thing, obviously because I can't reach it, they came up with this little system
Okay.
of using these, like they're almost like little carabiners.
Yeah.
But if I pull this, it opens
Okay.
the thing up. So you hold it like that with the mouth open, and you kind of like maneuver it to get it on the thing.
I'm glad we're having
It's
this
hard.
though.
It's hard to do with this thing. Man.
You know,
Well, when you've got the arc, it's trickier.
oh. When you're camped for 4 days or 3 days even, and it's super hot, it makes a huge difference to have that shade over the door.
And then to get it off, you just do the reverse. So just pull it
Yeah.
and then do that. And then I only do that for that one. For the front one, I just usually climb on the front seat. So I do this one first, and then stretch that over and flip it into that.
Okay.
So
And there's the
that's
other
it.
hook right there.
That's cool.
And then it just.
I mean, I could see if we were somewhere where we were actually
For a while,
camping for
yeah.
like 3 or 4 days.
Right.
And we're gonna be, weather was nice and we wanted to sit outside.
It's just a regular gas engine. Just takes regular windshield wiper fluid, not the Californian kind.
What is?
The Californian kind, they don't put antifreeze
Oh, that's
in
right,
their
that's right.
windshield wiper
Oh, we
fluid.
definitely want antifreeze in there.
Yeah.
In Colorado, you need antifreeze in your windshield wiper fluid. Just standard oil changes, air filters, that kind of thing. Since it is a gas engine, you can idle it. So if you're ever low on the batteries for the campervan part, since they charge while you're driving, you could sit in a parking lot and just idle it.
Or if you want to warm it up a little bit because it's a little bit cold, or if you want
Or air
with the
conditioning.
AC
We
for a
did
little
it for
bit.
air conditioning.
Yep. But we
We're in
can't do
some
that on our
places.
new because it's a
The
diesel.
diesels you can't
Diesel
idle.
you cannot
The
idle.
gas engines you can.
So that's the pretty nice thing. So that's how we
then-
didn't really feel like we ever needed
Right.
heat.
Right. And then the gas tank on the Transits come with a tap. So if you think about the gas tank, usually has one tap to suck it out for the fuel. The Transits have two. One is for the feeding the engine, and the second one is for like auxiliary. And so you can put a heater in and tap into that, and it uses the gas tank gas to run the heater.
And it's at a certain level so that it won't ever run out of gas.
Right.
I saw that some of the vans have that.
The drawback is that the gasoline ones cost a lot more than those diesel ones.
Right.
You can buy a cheap Chinese diesel heater
So
for like $100,
Right.
and that's literally what they call them.
right, but
Chinese
and
diesel
we
heaters.
thought we priced out about $3,000 to put that
like $2,000 to
in.
$3,000.
Yeah.
I feel like the other night, just having a little
Seems
heater.
like down a down sleeping bag's a lot cheaper than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're camping, right?
So I was just taking it to Walmart for oil changes.
Okay.
Like I said, it's going to need an oil change. It's like every 10,000 miles, but it will tell you.
Okay.
Like, get ready, it's coming. And that's what it's saying now.
All right.
So it probably has another couple thousand miles or something.
Okay.
But I was just taking it to Walmart.
Okay.
The only thing is, you got to tell them 10 times that it's tall and take it in the tall bay.
Got it. Okay.
Don't take it in the short bay.
Tall bay required.
Right. Other than that, it works just like a car. So it needs tires and brakes and oil changes and air filters and all the normal stuff. The tire pressure is higher, so I think it's like 70 pounds
Okay.
or so.
But it
whereas the
says that
normal
on
cars-
there,
Yeah,
right?
it's on the
And it
sticker.
indicates in the usual spot.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have some. This is for the Starlink that's
Okay.
on the roof. That's the little angle mounting thing that it comes with, but you don't need that obviously since it's mounted. And then this is the power supply for it.
Okay.
And since I mounted it and it's running off 12 volt power supply because that's more efficient than running off
Through a
like,
transformer.
AC. So just keep them just in case.
Okay. So those are not necessary unless we were to change up the structure.
Correct.
Okay.
If you just keep it the way it is, you don't ever need those.
Got it.
But I thought, maybe I shouldn't throw them away.
Yeah. Nothing.
So in here, we just had some extra parts from the build. This is an extra drawer latch,
Yep.
Oh, okay.
and they're super expensive. So
In case one breaks. And
yeah, it's like $25 for a piece of plastic.
wow.
This is an extra lagoon table.
Oh,
It's like
Oh,
the
right.
top of the thing, because these things
wear.
get worn out.
okay.
So that's an extra one of those. And
Where do I get more if I need more of
Lagoon, I think it's like lagoontableusa.com or lagoonusa.com.
those? Okay.
If you just search lagoon table, you'll find it.
Got it.
These little guys go to the battery, so you can the battery have a Ethernet jack on them.
Okay.
Each battery, and they're actually all connected together right now. They talk to each other. If you want to shut the batteries off, you can insert this into the Ethernet and just push this button, and it turns the battery off,
Interesting. Okay.
so that you could touch both sides and nothing bad would happen.
Got it.
It has a 5,000-pound 2-inch hitch with a 7-way connector and a 4-way connector. So 7-way is more for like big trailers that need brakes, and the 4-way is the normal one that you probably will use.
Right. Okay.
What's that connector on the left side?
This was the old Starlink connector. Now it's nothing.
Okay.
So I just left it there so that
That was when it was not permanently mounted.
right.
Got it. Okay.
And then underneath the back here, there's a piece of frame, and then there's like these like rubber. There's like holes in the frame,
Okay.
and there's like rubber grommets
Yep.
to stop things from coming in. And this one on this side has an outdoor thermometer. So
Okay.
there's a thermometer inside that reads that, so we can know
Gotcha.
what the temperature was inside and
Okay,
outside.
so that's where the sensor is.
So if it
right?
ever runs out of batteries, that's where it is.
And this down here is
that's
just
our
a
ding.
magnet that holds the door when you open the door.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It-
There's our little ding from Twin Falls, Idaho.
Yes.
This is the exhaust from the composting toilet. So it just runs basically continuously.
What
This-
power does it use? Is it just
It's all from the Campervan.
okay? Okay.
So all of the Campervan stuff only uses the power from that.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so it can't ever run the battery, the starter
Right.
battery down. So they're kind of separate.
Got it.
The power won't
Two different
pull
circuits.
from there, and it won't.
You're gonna open the door and show the gas.
So the gas fill is here.
Oh, okay.
which is hard for us now because the Sprinter is diesel and it's the
Oh.
exact same fill location.
Oh.
So as
So-
we go to the gas station,
I
diesel,
say
diesel, diesel.
I don't say ever I'm gonna stop for gas. I always say
I'm gonna stop
we're
for diesel.
stopping for diesel.
Diesel. Exactly.
Yeah, I owned a diesel for a while, and it was
Oh,
Luckily,
yeah?
I mean, they do have the different size adapters to keep you honest, but
Yes.
Oh, right.
But the gas one fits in the diesel. The diesel one won't fit in the gas.
Yeah, don't put the gas in the diesel.
And that's the worst way, I think, is putting the gas in the diesel is way worse than putting diesel in the gas.
And
I think.
I think it's the other way, but neither is good.
Because the gas is much more explosive than the, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Okay, so it kind of was the base model.
Mhm.
So it has cruise control. It has automatic high beams.
Mhm.
So when the lights are on automatic, they'll automatically come on and off.
Oh, okay, the auto beat, the
And it works like
Ish.
90% of the time.
Okay.
I always get worried. I'm like, I'm too close, I'm too close.
Right.
And I'll turn it off.
Yep.
It does have some rudimentary lane keeping. So it'll like vibrate.
Oh, on the cruise control,
Yes.
it like detects a lane shift.
Even if you're just driving. If I'm drifting over the white lines, it'll like vibrate the steering wheel. But it doesn't make any noise, so your passenger won't know, which is handy. the radio is like teeny tiny, like the backup camera is like this big, and I mean it's just a basic radio. We never even use it. I think it does have Bluetooth, and like an aux cord, or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then there's a USB charge up there, and there's a USB charge up here, and a
Okay.
12 volt up here as well. And so what we were doing is we were plugging in this is the charger or the cord for the dash cam. And so we would plug that in up here into the 12 volt.
Okay.
And there's no SD card in it, so
So it's just
I did put an SD card in it. It should be blank.
We like to latch them like that because then we can travel with the tables done.
They don't
put
rattle
up.
around. And
Yeah,
Okay,
they
that was
just
good to see
swing just a
then.
little
Yeah.
bit, but they're when they're tethered, and then you don't have to find a place to put them, you know.
makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
How are you feeling about this?
so
Do you
excited.
feel more overwhelmed or less, or
I don't feel overwhelmed.
okay? That's awesome. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
I mean, and the good thing is, you know, like if I have some question I don't understand, you know,
You know
I
where
who
we
to-
are.
I know who to call. Yeah. And at some point,
your numbers.
at some point, you'll be like, I don't remember, Carl.
I doubt it.
Exactly. Oh, shit.
You guys are on top of everything, so
Under the chair here, there's actually like this little mat that kind of comes up onto the things, but she
Yeah.
just stuffed all her shoes under there.
yeah. So you can actually stick it back on the Velcro. if
That's
you
how
want.
many shoes you can bring, hun.
Okay.
However many fit in there.
Okay, so there was room down there too by the shower pan. Have a good night on the trail, friends, wherever you are on your journey.